Welcome back to another episode of Jason's Bricks and 5, where we discuss LEGO content in videos of around 5 minutes. Today it is time for another LEGO Oswald vignette update. For those of you that might be new to the channel, I really love Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. He was actually Walt Disney's original character prior to Mickey Mouse. After making cartoons for a year in 1927 and 1928, the distributor who owned the rights legally took the character, and that was the end of Oswald until the early 2000s when the Disney company actually acquired the rights back for Oswald. So in that time frame, they made 27 cartoons in 1927 and 1928, and I've decided to take the Oswald CMFs that I have, the collectible minifigures. I actually have an army of over 260. I've decided to try to make a recreation of a scene from each of the original 27 cartoons, plus the additional 28th cartoon that they made after they regained the rights. So I'm trying to get this done so I can complete this and have it on display at Brick Slopes in August of 2024. And I have two new vignettes that we are going to highlight today. Now, if you're curious what a vignette or a habitat is, it's an 8x8 stud plate, and then you build a little scene or recreation that is 8 bricks high on either side, and they connect this way and can be stacked. So I have two cartoons that we have created today. We have Ocean Hop from 1927, and we have Tall Timber from 1928. We'll start with Ocean Hop. Now, this one, early aviation, adventures and travel was a lot different than it is nowadays. Now, it's very commonplace, but back then it was a big deal. Like Charles Lindbergh crossing the Atlantic was a huge thing. And this cartoon kind of capitalizes on that. Oswald is taking part in a race to cross the Atlantic, and his nemesis, Peg Leg Pete, is there and, kind of tries to foil him along the way. He shows up, Oswald shows up with a little, kind of Jimmy rigged together plane. It's like a bucket with a propeller and a broom at the tail. And that's what he starts with. But, because he's sabotaged, he ends up using like a dachshund or a wiener dog with balloons on it. And it's kind of a little funny cartoon. But so I went ahead and recreated this. I chose to use the first airplane that he had because I kind of liked the interesting parts that they used. And it was kind of a challenge to see if I could recreate that in a way. And then the other thing that was really challenging about this one is a lot of the cartoon is he's actually just flying over the ocean. So, how do I create this where it looks interesting, conveys what was in the cartoon, but is, still something that, looks like I didn't just put Oswald on a blank plate. So, we've got the sky and we've got the trans blue plate at the bottom. And I used a technique with these bricks with the stud that's not on the top, on the side, and used one of the little clear jumper plates or jumping rods that come with a lot of the minifigures to make these clouds kind of stand out, give it kind of a 3D effect. And then I used the round tile up here to create the sun, and I think it turned out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. So that is for Ocean Hop. Now, for Tall Timber, this one is from 1928, and this one was actually a little bit challenging because early on in the cartoon, he's in a boat, like a canoe, and the size is what's really challenging here. LEGO has made a canoe, and I even looked at using that. However, it was larger than the plate, even on a diagonal, so it just would not work. So I had to come up with another option. So I ended up using a brick-built method that I devised to make something that looks like a boat at least. And I think it looks like a boat and it fits in here. So, I'm relatively happy with it. But that was probably the most challenging thing, to get something that would fit, that he could sit in, and then also would look like a boat. So anyways, in this cartoon, Oswald starts out rafting, down the river in his canoe, and then he ends up on a lake, and he's got his shotgun and he's trying to shoot a bird. And then he goes off and is hunting later on in the cartoon. But the part with the bird, he actually ends up shooting a hole in the boat, and then the water comes spraying out the bottom. And that's what I've tried to recreate here. So I've used these translucent blue parts that were from the, not the current Avengers Tower, but the smaller playset that was a couple years ago. The Iron Man figures had these blast pieces, so I've used those because I think that does a good job of recreating the water splash. We've got the trans blue bricks at the bottom for the water, and then I've gone ahead and just created with some slopes kind of a little shore on the background, and then a little tree here to kind of give it a little bit of interest. So one thing that concerns me is a lot of these have sky, and I'm worried that they're blending together. So I guess that's one thing you can let me know if they're okay, or if I need to maybe try to break that up a little bit. But a lot of the things happen outside, so I got to come up with something. But so there we go. Now, I got some feedback after my last update with people advising that we should include the new sets, the new vignettes, into the previous ones that I've shown. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll get these added to the previous vignettes you've seen, and we'll see the progress that we've made.
All right, so here they are. You can see them added to the collection. Now this is not going to be the final setup. I'm going to have to do that after I have them all completed, but it gives you an idea of the progress we're making. So I'm pretty happy with it. It's looking pretty good. And that's going to do it for this episode of Jason's Bricks and 5. Thanks for watching, and happy building.